Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Marketer's Blueprint podcast. And first of all, Happy New Year! It's so great to be back with you, Gabe. We just got through all of the holidays. As of recording this, we just got through the first of the year. So, Gabe, how was your holidays? How have you been, man?
It was good. I took a couple weeks off, and which is always refreshing, and I get more done energetically in 2 weeks off sometimes than I do pushing hard. So always a good reminder that taking time off is a huge part of creativity and leadership and all of that. So it was great time with family and great time just to relax.
Same here, yeah, and I'm grateful as well. I took a bunch of time off. I traveled and spent a bunch of time with family, and I hope all of you had a great holiday season. And again, Happy New Year. We're so happy to be back and recording another episode. And we're going to start out the year with a banger, guys. It is going to be awesome. So today we're going to talk about B2B marketing or business to business marketing, which in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure Gabe will agree, is a whole different breed of marketing. It is a beast in its own. So most of the time, you're not just selling to one person, right? You're selling to a whole company or an organization when you do B2B marketing. The price points are higher. The sales cycle is longer. And to be candid with you, to be brutally honest, business owners can be a tough crowd to impress. If anybody knows, it's me. I talk to dozens, hundreds, thousands over 2024 of business owners, and they can be a tough crowd. They need more than just a flashy ad or a catchy slogan to spark your interest. Gabe knows this as an entrepreneur. He has to tune out so much noise in the industry to find valuable information. They want concrete results and measurable ROI. And that's the case with the vast majority of successful entrepreneurs. So this year we ran, or I should say last year now, in 2024, we ran countless campaigns for B2B clients, a ton of different B2B clients. And we learned a thing or two over that time about what works and what doesn't work. So today we're going to dive into some of the B2B results that we've had in 2024 and what we think will stick in 2025. So Gabe, do you have any opening remarks when it comes to B2B marketing?
Yeah, you definitely touched on it. It's really important to realize that just like any market you're targeting, you really need to know the ins and outs of the business, the industry that you're targeting, because if you don't understand their goals, their needs, their pain, who they are, what they believe in, what they value, all the things that we uncover in the deep market research that we do with our clients, then your message is going to fall flat at best and likely become annoying. But if you actually understand where that person is coming from, then how you approach them, how you market to them, how you move into the sales conversation, the offers you make is going to be really key. And I'll give one example of that I went through. I know somebody through a networking mastermind group I'm in, and they made an offer it was around like process optimization for businesses.
Right.
And the way they first marketed it was effective. The first part of the marketing funnel, the first part of the journey was like, this is a really simple, easy thing you can do. You can take this quiz and then I'll show you the results and how you can implement things. So I was like, cool, I can spend 10, 15 minutes tops doing this little survey or quiz to uncover where there's opportunities. And then I can have a conversation to see how I could get support in optimizing some things that I don't quite have where I want them yet, like my own personal contact management, because I have like 7 or 8,000 contacts in my phone.
Good Lord.
But I don't manage them the way that I want to yet. And so I was like,
Yeah.
I know that there's lost opportunities there. Sounds like it's easy, but where the marketing, which of course should be blending seamlessly into sales, kind of fell down in this process is once I took the quiz and I got into the call, the way that it was presented was that it was going to be tedious and very time consuming, which was honest, which I really value.
Right.
But they lost in this case, they lost the opportunity because the awareness that I'm busy, like I make time for what's important. I have freedom of time, but like I'm busy and like I wasn't able to connect the initial message of like this will be easy to optimize and implement is what I heard and saw, to the further down the funnel marketing. It fell apart there.
Yeah.
And so it's really key when we're marketing to businesses that we know their needs and desires and goals and like who they are as people, what they value, so we can tie that all the way through the marketing.
Yep.
And not just, we have to get attention, which they did well in this case, but then the middle of their funnel, and it was a newer offer, and they're a good friend of mine. It
Sure.
wasn't like that, but it was a newer offer, and it kind of where I lost confidence and fell down was the middle of funnel marketing, essentially, because this vendor who was marketing to me and prospecting with me didn't have enough context of my journey, where I'm at, what I valued, and missed like the psychology that a lot of business owners have of I need this to be low time commitment and high
Right.
ROI of result. It wasn't a money thing I was driving at. I mean, it needs to lead to money in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's something just to remember is like you have to really understand the industry well enough and like what common behavioral beliefs and things are in place, because if you don't understand the psychology of the market you're going after, then I don't care how flashy or attractive or attention grabbing everything else is, you'll break in the middle of your funnel.
100%. Like, business owners, more so than the average consumer, vet their vendors or their services that they use double if not triple. I mean, every time that we've been in business for 18 years, so we've seen a lot of different CRMs, vendors, services, and different things, and there's an extensive process to work with BME on that level, and so you can expect that with every other business owner. It's not easy to win over business owners. Trust me.
Yeah.
So that's
only had like 10,000 conversations, so you didn't know.
hey, you know what? But it's a labor of love, because business owners are some of the most intelligent, well-spoken people on the planet, and so selling to them can be challenging but extremely rewarding, especially when you sell a service that is or a product that's tailored to businesses. And so that with that, we'll dive right in. So before we dive into some of the educational aspects, of course I got to play a game with you, Gabe. We just got out of the holidays. I mean, of course I got to play a little game with you. So I have a little kind of question and answer sort of game lined up for us today. We're going to have 3 rounds, me and you, where I just have some B2B marketing questions, and I want you to try to guess the answers. So I'll list off a question to you. I'll have some options, and you can pick one. See if you know your stuff. And
I'm well researched. We'll see.
Right. We'll hit 2025 hard. So with round 1, what type of content did B2B marketers spend the most of their budget on? Was it video, thought leadership content, in-person events, or paid advertising?
It's a hard question, man.
Yeah.
I would say thought leadership because that's more educational. But
I would say that I almost bet that you would guess that, and that's something that's very important. But if you think about the trends as we're getting into the new year, it was actually video.
not surprising. I almost went that way because you can obviously do thought leadership with video. So
right. It kind of ties into. I might have to talk to Ashley about that one. That might have been a trick question, but it was video. 69% of B2B business owners spend the most budget on video content. And that makes sense, right? As we get into the age of video, we put more emphasis on podcasting and shorts and clips and things like that. Video's not dying, right?
Yeah, it's always based on my preferences, which is a really great lesson, because your preferences as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, are not necessarily the preferences of the other businesses you're marketing to. And so that's something that I've done a ton of video, to be clear, but I could have done 10 times the video. You know, there's that potential, and it's definitely something that we're really growing in and doing better as a team, because I've been the main blocker there, because my first love is writing, and so I lean that way. But yeah, you're totally right. Video holds the greatest attention right now. It has, like, as far as market share of attention, it holds such a ton, you know, it holds so much attention, and business owners spend a lot of time on YouTube and on shorts and things like that too. But the majority of entrepreneurs that I interact with spend probably 10 times more time on YouTube than I do. I'm just, of course, the odd one out.
You are the odd one out, Gabe. You write and read a lot more than most people, but the vast majority of people are on YouTube a lot. I'm on YouTube a lot. Most of our team is on YouTube a lot. I mean, it's just grown and grown and grown, and there are other video platforms as well, but that's the big hitter. So yeah, it's video, guys. Video is huge. But the second question I have is, what channel did B2B buyers use the most to discover new products? Was it social media advertising, referrals, internet search results, or physical advertising?
And they're all strong players for sure, but I would probably say internet search results.
Bingo! I knew you wouldn't go without getting one right. So internet search results are huge. And like he said, these are all huge mediums. Physical advertising is a little lower than it used to be. It just depends on your industry. But search results, referrals, social media advertising are huge ways to discover new products. 66% of B2B buyers use internet search results to discover new products. That's why we put such a heavy emphasis on our PPC and SEO team, is because the better results that you're getting on your searches for products or services that you're selling, the better you sell your products and services, right?
Yeah, and SEO has been a huge factor for a couple decades, I think, at this point, if not longer. And what's interesting is that if you invest in really valuable, useful, helpful content, and you're not trying to game the search engines or use just tactical stuff, but if you really focus on how do I serve the reader really well so they walk away inspired, educated, informed, able to take action on their own as well, when you put out that level of quality of content, you will never, well, it's virtually impossible to get slapped by Google updates or changes with that. In addition, the people that have played the long game with SEO are benefiting from a newer channel of SEO, which is not going to be the only channel, but it's going to become a big channel, and that's AI SEO.
Right.
I, quote unquote, Google search in ChatGPT more often than I Google search, but my results when I'm asking questions are sourced back to a really well-written, well-cited, generally, article. AI has some growth and sophistication to go
Watch
through.
our video on it, guys. We talk about it a lot. It's a great tool, but don't put all your eggs in it.
Yeah, but the nice thing is if you play the long game in SEO, you actually have the ability to get into a lot of channels, traditional SEO, but also AI-driven SEO is a big factor. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised because we are, as business owners, natural behavior is we're always seeking answers and solutions. And the best platform in the world for that for decades has been Google. And it's just a iteration of that when people are searching in AI right now. So SEO is huge. I'm not surprised that's one of the bigger channels there.
Definitely not. And the other ones are huge too. It's just that one is driving the results for 2024. Like we talked about on a previous episode, anytime you're looking up anything, how-to videos, product reviews, anything, you're searching Google first, or maybe an AI tool now, but you're searching the internet. The internet is the most powerful thing when it comes to running a business by far in this day and age. So it's definitely not to be undermined. But we have one more. Let's see if you can go 2 for 2 on these last two. What type of content did B2B buyers find the most appealing? Was it case studies, webinars and digital events, short form content such as blogs, infographics, and that sort of thing, or long form content such as white papers and ebooks?
I'm gonna
think outside your own, because I know which one you'd say.
It's probably short form content.
Yep.
And I need to add to that something so that everybody who's as wise and sophisticated as all our subscribers are, because they're here first. The other thing to pay attention to, because it hasn't reached the level of being as big as short form content yet, but audiobooks are making a massive play right now.
Yes.
So
partially due to TikTok.
Yeah, there's a lot of channels driving it. I'm seeing early signs that investing in really obviously high quality, valuable books that you turn into an audiobook, the rise of the audiobook is just reaching incredible new heights, and there's early signs that that's going to blow up in the next 24 months and actually push back on AI, which is really interesting to me.
When are you going to have me record my audio for your book, Gabe? I'd be happy to do it for you.
Man, I think I'll take you up on that. I'm working on a new book that might come out in 2025. We'll see if I get done with it.
I'm excited. I read your other book, so... But yeah, it's short form content, guys. No surprise, right? We've talked about short form content all the time. 65% of B2B buyers found short form content like blogs, infographics, the most appealing. And like Gabe said, there's so many mediums for short form content. I almost consider, like, in a weird way, audiobooks to be a short form content. It takes less commitment than reading. A lot of people are daunted by sitting down and reading. You and I are readers. I read fantasy books and comic books and things like that, but not everybody does. So audiobooks is like a stepping stone. It's like when you don't want to watch a full YouTube video, you can watch shorts or scroll through TikToks or things like that. It's more available. You can use it while you're going on a run or exercising or doing some monotonous task.
Yep.
Take advantage of those different mediums of short form content because it's not going anywhere. Like Gabe said, especially with audiobooks and all the shorts and the reels and everything that's blowing up, that has blown up in 2024 will probably continue to rise in 2025. So, and that's the same, like this whole episode's about. That's the same with business owners. Gabe's a little bit of an oddball. We know this, and he does things his own way, which we love about him. That's what makes him so unique. But most people, even business owners, especially newer business owners, right? We're catering to a new age as we come into 2025, and so there's younger and younger entrepreneurs. They're focusing on short form content. It's what they've started to grow up and read and watched more of, right? So I think that it's definitely not to be understated, even going into 2025.
Absolutely.
But next we'll go into a little bit of more of the educational side. We want to make sure that you guys know exactly what you need to do when you're focusing on targeting a B2B audience. So here are a few things that we've seen in our experience contribute to our highest performing B2B campaigns. The first you touched on a little bit before, and it's really important. Understand your B2B audience, right? The foundation of any successful campaign lies in thorough understanding of your target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier this year, I have the privilege and opportunity to be in a fractional C-suite role with a client.
Yeah.
And so I manage some of the vendors with that client. And so one of their vendors came in and just started making assumptions. And they were like, well, we need to do an on-site visit for this part of the manufacturing process, and we need to do X, Y, and Z. And they just started making all these assumptions, which is okay. Like, we all make assumptions, but I corrected the process and said, like, well, I understand that's what you normally do, but here's how we need to do it here, because I have a very close relationship with this client. We're very aligned to what we need and our goals and all of that. But I said, what, I understand it's your normal process, but here's what we need to do. And so we're going to do this virtually over video calls first, and then we'll think about doing the in-person visit.
Right.
Unfortunately, our previous contact with this vendor just went ahead and scheduled the on-site visit, and I ended up having to go to their boss and say, it's not what we asked for, and that person got removed from our account. And I'm bringing that up not because I enjoy having those conversations or getting somebody fired from managing an account. They didn't get fired from the company, fortunately, but I said I can't work with them because I gave them clear written instruction, a verbal instruction, and then they did exactly what I didn't want to do. And so I'm responsible.
Hands are kind of tied there, right?
Yeah, and I'm responsible to follow through on what my client asked me to do in that situation. But it was a really clear reminder to me that if we come in from our marketing perspective and we're trying to acquire new customers and serve them well, we can really only do that if we know their processes, their goals, their value, their friction points, what typical things happen in that space. So, like, if you're in this space, this client that we work with, they manufacture a very high-end elite medical device. And so they have manufacturing priorities and concerns that have to be resolved and can be resolved through software and services. They have design and marketing things that, of course, we help them with. They have all these different needs. And because I've spent hundreds, if not maybe thousands of hours at this point, I have to look, investing time with that company and knowing that space, it's very easy for me now to go and look at a similar medical wellness device company and say, well, I understand what happens on the floor, manufacturing this device. I understand these things. And what we've learned, in all the conversations we've had with people in this industry is that these are the points that they're concerned about and they need help with from their marketing perspective, or if you're selling a different service or you're selling a product to another business. Because I know that industry so well, the marketing lines up when we want to attract those people, the sales conversations make sense, all of that. And so you can't expect to have somebody sign a contract with you or start spending hundreds or thousands of dollars each month or make tens of thousands of dollars commitments to you when they don't have the comfort level that you actually know what they have going on. And so that's the key of deep market research, is not just an academic exercise of like, oh, let's go Google these people and study them and read articles. Like, that's good. That's a piece of the process.
Sure.
But the reality is that real market research is having live conversations with people in that industry, sending them surveys and asking them to fill it out, digging in and reading what they give you and learning to read between the lines too, of like, oh, they keep talking about this issue, but what's the root cause of that? That depth of knowing at great depth your audience is a key to putting out messaging and marketing that will attract them. And you cannot skip that step and expect to acquire customers effectively. You get their attention, you acquire them, you won't retain them if you don't know that. And that's internal marketing and retention. Like that's all marketing is everything, as one of my friends says, which I don't believe it at that level of absolute statement.
Sure.
But marketing is so much because it's not just acquiring the new customer and getting their attention. It's marketing to them in the midst of the relationship and reminding them of the value they get and how you can even serve them more.
Yeah, and a couple of the points I wanted to touch on is it goes beyond demographics. A lot of people stop there. You can really identify the key decision makers within your target companies, and there's usually more than one. There's usually not just one decision maker, especially if it's a well-established company. Rarely is there a time you make a decision when it comes to business marketing engine by yourself. You're usually consulting our lead project managers, our general manager, your wife. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and that happens with other companies as well. Another one is understanding their pain points, and there's a caveat with that. As a sales professional, a lot of people focus on digging into that pain, and that's not what you want to do. You want to identify that pain point and find a way to solve it. Understanding that pain point so that you can alleviate that pain, not dig into it to make it feel worse and convince them to buy something. You want to take that pain away. And so that goes alongside with serving B2B clients as well. And then also you can create detailed buyer personas, right? These personas can serve you as a guide for all of your marketing efforts, which include your advertising campaigns. You want to understand, just like we've talked about in countless episodes now, you want to understand who you're selling to, whether that be, just somebody buying a cheap product or all the way up to somebody buying a service that's going to be in their business for years to come. So those are all really, really key aspects when it comes to understanding your B2B audience. And the next thing I wanted to touch on was aligning your strategy with the sales funnel, which I feel like is so, so important, especially in this space. Your campaign should always be strategically aligned with the different stages of your B2B sales funnel. I'll give a couple of the stages here, and then I'll have you touch on them. There's the awareness stage, the consideration stage, and the decision stage. So if you would, elaborate a little bit more about what those entail, especially as it pertains to a B2B audience.
Yeah, like in a simple way, and obviously, as we've discussed, everything has to be completely aligned and customized to the market you're serving, and you need to know them well enough so that your language, your images, everything will align so that say, oh, that looks like me. But at the awareness stage, one of the most effective things that I've seen in the campaigns we run for clients and in other campaigns that I watch and see great success with is that at the awareness stage, one of the best things you can do is use the awareness stage as an educational point to educate them and bring awareness to, hey, here's how I just solved this problem for a business just like yours. That way, you're educating them and you're also giving them the opportunity to self-identify and go, oh, well, like if BME was able to figure out the positioning and angle to sell this product, well, and here's the results they get, that might work for me. That's all we're looking for, is like them to be aware that you can solve that problem, and then it naturally will flow into the consideration phase of like, man, now I've seen, probably 50 or 100 times or more at this point, I keep seeing all these different success stories, wins, results, just honest, practical explanations of the success that this company gets when they're solving this problem and creating growth. Then it moves into consideration. And at the consideration phase, then you need to get more into the how and the steps, and this is how our processes works. And then ultimately, if you want to acquire a customer for life, you bring awareness so that when they reach a point where they're frustrated, then they move into consideration. Either frustrated or big opportunity opens and they're like, I need to consider this for growth. They can consider from a frustrated or from a positive place. In the consideration phase, you start to break down more specifics of this is how it works, these are the steps. And then when it comes to decision, if you've done the other two steps of the sales and marketing funnel, they're together, then they should feel well educated and trust that you're full of integrity and you just give them the right information to make the best decision for them. Because where a lot of people fall short in their marketing that bleeds into their sales process and language as well is if you're just selling on pain, like you were talking on earlier, there's two really dangerous things that come out of that. If we market and sell from a place of hitting people's pain too hard and inappropriately, one, we're originating a relationship from a place of pain, and the origin of things has lasting impact in the life of the relationship. So that you kind of
Yes.
poison the relationship. But even if that wasn't the case, which it's a massive factor, I've seen it thousands of times at this point in my career,
Right.
then even if that wasn't a negative factor that impacted the relationship, which it does, then if you are only going to solve pain and you're good at what you do, you'll solve the pain point and then you will no longer be valuable, because if you sold all around like, I can remove this pain, you're clearly so much in pain, this is all screwed up, and you just dig into that. When if you are good at what you do and you deliver the result, then the pain will be gone and there won't be any vision left of like, now that the pain's gone, how do we thrive? How do we grow? How do we have this long lasting partnership? You become like this break fix solution.
Right.
I broke my leg almost 2 years ago. I went to the ER. I had surgery, was in the hospital a couple days, and I left, which is how hospitals are supposed to work.
Right.
But their goal wasn't to have, that's not a space or industry or that case where their goal in that case wasn't to have me as a patient for 10 years.
Right.
It wouldn't work because
Hope not.
they sold me on pain, which was super appropriate there. But so many people use that inappropriately, and then the pain's gone, and they're like, why do I need you? So it's a very dangerous thing when you're getting people to the consideration and decision point to dig into the pain and twist the knife, like I've heard people say. It's so
Pretty
foolish
sick.
and ineffective. There's damage that comes out of it, but also, all that aside, you're creating a short-lived relationship
Yeah.
just from saying, oh, we're just going to fix your pain. It has to be more aspirational in that aspect of like, oh yeah, you have problems, we're going to solve those, and we're going to grow, and you're going to have results for the long term, and you can keep buying this product, or you can keep using our services because it'll help you sustain and grow. So
Yeah.
those are really important things to think about when we look at how the marketing funnel and the sales funnel, obviously married together, operate in those kind of three main phases.
Yeah, and that's absolutely huge. It's not to be understated. When you're trying to work with a client for a long time, you don't want the relationship be founded on their pain. You want to, of course, solve the pain point and help them out, but you also want to build a relationship with them. Make sure you're catering to their needs, wants, desires. We talk about that in marketing all the time. It's not just about the pain. Of course, pain is a powerful driving factor. Somebody has X problem, you have X solution. That, of course, is going to be huge, but there's other aspects that go into building a relationship, especially in the B2B sense, because a lot of those relationships last for a long time. We've had certain vendors, accounting, and different things that we've had for years now. And that's not just because they solved a pain point. That's because they're consistently helping us out and, understanding what we need as a business. And that's the last point I have here is consistent optimization. We talked about optimizing funnels pretty often on the show. So from targeting your ads to your landing page, we have a few tips that I'd like to go over before we end today's episode when it comes to optimizing B2B campaigns in 2025. I'll kind of quick shot through them, and then you can touch on any of them that you'd like. We have LinkedIn ads, so you can utilize LinkedIn ads to target specific job titles, company sizes, industries. It's an excellent tool for the B2B space. We also have account-based marketing, or ABM, which focuses on targeting specific accounts within your ideal customer profile. We also have intent data. We talk about intention all the time. So you can leverage intent data to identify companies that are actively researching solutions that you offer. So you can see what their intention is. And lastly, of course, landing pages. Ensure your landing pages are clear, concise, visually appealing, and most of all, trustworthy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different avenues, and the more that you know and understand your audience, the industry, like what they value, what's important to them, all the psychology on top of the simple demographics and the things that are easy to find, then you'll know, oh, it is true in my space that people are Googling for things, around this problem.
Yeah.
And so I want to show up as a sponsor result that clearly from the ad copy demonstrates they're going to get value and results, to the landing page, to the opt-in, like they have a great experience up front, so that because whether they're consciously doing it or not, they're paying attention to, like, what's the experience like of opting in or reading this page, that's going to have some correlation to what my experience is going to be working with this person. So yeah, ultimately, those are all really awesome tools, and there's probably a solid 50 different tools, channels, avenues that we use all the time with as we market for our clients based on their target audience and the research. But there's probably 150, 200 that are out there. And so it's not about jumping from channel to channel to hope something like just sparks and works all of a sudden. It's about playing the long game in a channel, getting all those brand impressions, and being committed to the awareness stage so that you can move into the consideration stage, that you can ultimately get to that decision point. So all those are incredibly effective channels if you know your audience well enough and you know which ones to test, and if you're willing to play the long game and optimize things, because seasonally things change in an industry. Over a few years, things change. People's beliefs and behaviors will change at some level, and then other things will stay constant. And if you don't know the difference between those two things, something that's working now could die off and stop performing because you're not actively monitoring and continuing your research. That's something that we do really well with our clients. Is we obviously build our customer-centric marketing platform, which is all the research, all the behavioral stuff, everything we need to know to start campaigns. Mm-hmm. But then we continue to build on that market research foundation month over month, quarter over quarter, as we're collecting real-time data, as we're talking to our clients about what conversations they're having with prospects, building that so that we have a living market research platform to build and grow on, instead of letting it go stale and think, oh, we did the research once, we're good to go. That's not
right.
That's not
Things
effective.
Change. Yeah, and there's a lot to it, guys. Like there really is, especially when it comes to B2B. So if it sounds like a lot, don't worry about it. We understand. If you need help creating, high converting LinkedIn ads or landing pages, we talk about landing pages all the time. Or if you're struggling to bring in the B2B leads that your business needs to grow, come check us out. We've worked with tons, hundreds, if not thousands over the years of B2B clients. You can download our 7-figure sales guide, which has all kinds of useful information that even pertains to this. It'll be linked down below wherever you're checking out the podcast. In there, you can even book a call with me. I'd love to have a chat with you, learn about some of the struggles that you're facing, and even how we can help you out. But with that, I think that is a wrap for today. It has been an excellent episode today. I hope you guys learned all kinds of fun things about B2B marketing, and we will see all you on the next episode.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.